Welcome back. It's still Election Command Center, and now it's time for Fact Check. We're back on the deliverytracker.gov.gh website, where we'll be taking a look at some infrastructural projects that have been put up by the team, the NPP team, of course, headed by the Vice President, indicating that some of these projects have been completed and some are ongoing. Today, we're visiting the Western region. We'll be taking a look at two projects in the Shama district and also in the Lembele district. So we'll start off with the Shama district, but quickly, let me introduce to you the man who does the best fact-checking. I don't know why he didn't fact-check my issue for me. I mean, we would have been here avoiding trouble. But yes, Patrick Stevenson is here. He's the lead researcher at Imani Africa. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning.
Yeah.
Good to be here. I'm doing well. How are you?
You're not supposed to be laughing, Patrick.
No, you introduced the segment.
You could have helped. You could have helped myself and Johnny. Why didn't you? But anyways, let's take a look at our first project. This is in the Shama district in the Western region. And it says here that completed, categories industrial. And it says completed Keda Ceramics Company Limited. It focuses on production of ceramic tiles from clay. And again, at the Shama district.
Super stuff. So I think we want to say something else, like we always do as a precursor to interpreting what exactly you have on the portal. I think that because this is industrial, we want to consider it as one of those one district, one factory initiative activities of government. And the way we understand the policy as it's been implemented, some projects are built from ground up, and then others are existing businesses that the government provided a support one way or the other. And so KEDA, from our checks and investigations, appears to be one of those companies that existed before. Now, the interesting thing about KEDA, though, is that, it's a company that's been in existence, I think, from sometime in 2000. And in 2016, right, so KEDA launches this ambitious plan, which was, started around 3 phases. And the very first phase was launched by the former president, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. So it's a company that has done something, in collaboration with government before. And so it is not, again, it is not clear what, why we had to sort of label it as, some sort of a new infrastructure within the industrial sector. The interesting thing, however, is that in 2018, I think the company, when the government launched the One District, One Factory initiative, applied, to government that, they wanted to be a part of the deployment of that particular policy and program. And so they were given tax waivers, and our check suggests the tax waivers should be to the tune of about 38 million Ghana cedis, right? So that's how, KEDA comes into the conversation in terms of what government actually wants or expect from that initiative. Maybe it's just to get the company to resist, but it doesn't look like a company that, typically was struggling like those that we may have seen, for some other sectors. So that's KEDA. So the company exists, but it is not a new company. It's a company that's been in existence for nearly, 20 years. And it's not new. In terms of its engagement with government, One District, One Factory initiative will not be the first time that it's engaging in anything with government. Indeed, the first phase, as I indicated, was launched, by former President John Dramani Mahama. And then the second and third phases, which are all tax reliefs oriented, were provided by this particular government.
So no physical structure.
So again, once again, and that's the worry. If one government starts an initiative with the private sector, driven, investment, and another continues, I'm not sure why they are both in a rush to tag, label, and count. Because somebody will count it. There's a new government that is counting it. So in the mind of the ordinary Ghanaian, maybe you have two different infrastructure investment projects for industry. But does that necessarily mean you have more jobs? I'm not particularly sure. These tax reliefs you have given, for instance, we don't know. For a fact if maybe number of jobs that were created went up. The company itself, I understand, at full capacity should be up, employing nearly about 400 people thereabout, So not a bad company in itself, but this is not a new investment that has been made by government. No, absolutely not.
Interesting. Let's move now to the Lembele district, where there's also another project that is said to have been completed in the Western region. So it says the Finza Industries processing of coconut oil in Lembele district, and it says completed.
So this company's story is very interesting, Bella. Because the reality is that this Finza Industries company, started even before we became independent, right? We became a Republican state in 1960. So it was a company that the first president of the Republic of this country, must have even been aware of his existence. I mean, and for more than 60 years, right, the company has operated, processing coconut into coconut oil. Now, in 2000, just like we saw most of our, state-run enterprises or companies at the time being divested, it was divested in year 2000 and was sold to a private person by the name Kaku Chiama. Now, having been sold for 8 years, between 2000 and 2008, the company operated fine. I think at capacity was employing about 2,000 people. However, its scale of operations declined for those 8 years. This was under the Kufuor regime. Then after 2008, the company almost went defunct, right? It never operated. We're not sure what the industrial dynamics really were. That kept the company comatose. Now, it's been counted here. What people should recognize is that, I mean, we've had, Eric, who's the regional correspondent, go check the status of the company. And as we speak, the company is not operating. It's not. So why we will count it as one of the companies that, have received some kind of, investment support from government, I'm not particularly sure what that looks like. But the company exists. It has legacy infrastructure, right? That still sits, on its properties. But it's not a company, that is operating according to checks by Eric. And so that is a very interesting dimension to the conversation, whether we can just randomly go around and count whether, and the history of the company suggests it's been state-owned, it's transformed in a number of ways. Why I think it will show up in a portal like this is because in 2016, when the then political party that's running government now, the MPP, was undertaking its regional elections, I think the person who was contesting for treasurer for that area promised that the company was going to be resuscitated, right, under the government's One District One Factory initiative, and so this was going to be added. Point is, it's not being done because the company...
Could it be that it could have been done, but it's yet to...
Yeah, but I mean, this is an industrial plant. So even 2018, you launched a policy, and between then and now, something has happened. A company with legacy infrastructure. Again, there may be dynamics around that. But the point is, as it's captured, as completed, it's not a company that's operating. It's not. Even if you had said it is at different stages of implementation, we could forgive you to suggest, for example, that, there are plans on paper to get the company back to working. But it's not. So what exactly this means, I'm not sure. And I'm sure Ghanaians are watching us, and those who live in the Western region, maybe can go to the field and then verify the existence of that company and whether it's operating for themselves.
Usually we would have our correspondents go on the ground and fact check for us as well. Unfortunately, we would not be able to bring you that today, but we hope that in subsequent editions we will bring you the real situation on the ground. But these are some interesting facts.
Yeah, I mean, very interesting. So in the case of these two companies that I mentioned, so there's 5 companies in the Western region. These two, we've had a correspondent, Eric, the Western regional correspondent, go and verify the existence of the companies, which is why we can confirm the first one, which processes KEDA, which processes, the clay into ceramics. That's fine.
Yes.
And then this one, we know for a fact that company, in the Western region, is not operating today, but it's a company that has been in existence over the last 60 years or so.
Interesting. Thank you so much, Patrick
Thank
Stevenson,
you very much for having me.
Lead researcher at Imani Africa. When we get back, we'll have a conversation actually about whether it even makes sense to still go around the country and campaign ahead of election 2020 when we are very much aware of the impact of COVID-19 on our country. We'll be back as Election Command Center.